Welcome, Sad Boys, one and all, to my brand new series. Now, this has been a long time coming. I'm very happy today to start my extensive Degrassi review, retrospective. I don't know what to classify this, but basically every month I'm going to be taking 2 Degrassi episodes. I'm doing it in order, no favoritism here at all. 2 Degrassi episodes, and I'm going to be talking about them. I'm going to be breaking these bitches down. If you do not know what Degrassi is, it's a Canadian educational dramatic soap opera starring children. There were like 4 series before this. Kids on Degrassi Street, Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High School, and a 4th one, I think. This is the main feature. It took them 4 series to culminate to this. It ran from 2001 to like way too long. There are potentially whole seasons that I've never even seen. I've done the calculations. So there's about 388 episodes. So if I do 2 a month, it's gonna take 194 months, which means I should finish this series in 16 years. The year 2036. So let's hope that YouTube and I have not been obliterated into nuclear annihilation by that point, and I can finish this series. So if you like Degrassi, or if you've never seen the show, come with me as we dissect every Degrassi episode ever. Play the intro. Whatever it takes, 388 episodes to go till I might explode, but I know I can make it through. I know I can make it through. There's not a lot of continuity in this show. Each episode will focus on a different character or a different group of characters. There will also be a B storyline with a second group of characters who are going through their own thing. Usually that's the lighter story. Sometimes they cross paths, sometimes they interact. And then you have these big 2-part episodes. It carries over into the second episode and promises very dramatic changes. I'll focus on the first half. This episode has a difficult task of being a bridge of the old cast from Degrassi High and trying to pass the torch to the next generation. They don't really give you any context to what came before. If you're unfamiliar with the Degrassi universe, you probably don't even know that there was any series before Next Generation. And most of the adult characters that we follow in Next Generation came from Degrassi High. Off the top, we're introduced to Manny and Emma. Emma is sort of the protagonist, definitely for this episode, but kind of for this entire first season, I think. On a technical level, Degrassi was shot on film. Film just tends to hold up better. It doesn't have that cheap staleness that I think a lot of TV shot on digital has. Unfortunately, the camera direction in this first episode is very claustrophobic. There's no establishing shots, we're just uptight. The entire show is shot like this. And I have to admit, it's sort of off-putting. I like to know where characters are in relation to one another, and when you just start an episode off inside of a character's face and you cut to another character's face, it gets confusing. It can save you time. It can save you a lot of money in set design, hiring extras, what have you, but slightly confusing it makes. The A storyline does follow Emma and Manny. Emma is flirting. She's talking to an online correspondent that goes by the name of Jordan.
Emma, you saved my heart and my project. If we protect the wildlife refuge, I owe it all to you. Love you, Jordan. Love you. Love you.
Jordan promises to be a 16-year-old. So a 16-year-old going for a 12-year-old is problematic in itself. I would consider Degrassi somewhat of a message show. Its central point is to create situations with young individuals in order to educate the viewers at home. It is only fair to look at the material that is given through the context and the lens of an older individual and trying to discuss, does the messaging, does the morality hold up? So with Emma and her cyber boyfriend,
Obviously, the message they're tackling is catfishing. And while this being 2001, the subject is handled with as much grace and delicacy as anything was handled in 2001.
And what you should be doing right now is installing monitoring software on that child's computer and monitor every single thing they do. Every keystroke typed, every username and password, every website visited, every chat logged. You monitor what they do online via software that you install so you know exactly what they're doing, where they are, and who they're talking to.
And that kind of software is available at any place that you would buy software?
Emma mentions Caitlin. We see her on a magazine cover, and then this is quick cut with her mom Spike holding a picture of her and Emma, and it's showing characters from Degrassi High and the diverging paths of their two lives. But those two lives come ahead in our B storyline, which is a 10-year Degrassi High reunion. I think it's a smart choice. You have the reunion of the old generation passing the torch to the new generation, the next generation, and they only give us a small handful of characters. Next we meet JT.
You sure you can handle that? I small but strong, like boom.
Boy, did I forget how tiny JT was. I have not watched this show since it aired on Fuse TV, and Fuse isn't even a network anymore. I haven't watched a TV show in so long that I should be going to a 10-year reunion. But JT, he's the runt of the cast. Over-enthusiastic, jokester, prankster guy that no one takes seriously.
Until it's too late.
But we'll get there. I love how he's given all these heavy ass boxes, and then when he drops the shit, you can clearly see that Emma and Manny are carrying completely empty boxes. The technical qualities of this series are just outstanding. The amount of dub work is insane. It sounds like narration in most cases because the dub track is so poorly integrated into the sound mix.
Speaking of bull, thanks again, guys. And yes, I'll clean my room. She rushed me out of the house so fast I didn't get to read my new email. I hope it's from Jordan.
It does give this weird, almost out-of-body feeling. Hopefully they fix that in the episodes to come. This is a pilot episode. There's gonna be budget issues, technical issues, and overall just pace and tone issues because the show takes time to find itself. Now from the school, we cut to Joey. He is a loser. How big of a fucking loser Joey is? Well, here's a montage.
He's even got a little bud vase and you put the flowers. Peace, man. You look like hippie.
Joey, we're all sorry that your wife died.
I know.
Ooh, look at that. Why don't you sell me a car like that, Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Alea, is he in show business?
Mm-hmm. He's a director.
I always knew you'd meet the guy. Actually, I have changed. And so have you. Excuse me.
Hey, Jeremiah Motors, if you find a lower price anywhere else, I'll give you the shirt off my back.
Joey, that's awful.
Next time, hire a real actor.
But you feel bad for the guy. His heart's in the right place. The show really does tip its hand on who it wants you to align yourself with. The show gets better, I feel, as the seasons go on about making characters more complex. But in this very first episode, it's really clear who's supposed to be a person you like and who's supposed to be a person you don't really like. Joey's a used car salesman. He has a little girl. Life isn't going the way he wants it to. He's selling a car to Lucy, who I'm assuming is from the original cast. She never really shows up again in the series, so I completely forgot how big of a part she plays in this episode. And maybe that's the point. She wasn't going to come back for the rest of the series, so they gave her more of an important thing to do in this episode. But it comes off as weird because I don't know her at all. And she has this history with Joey in the very first scene. She's talking about Joey's dead wife and how he needs to move on. And it's like, whoa, lady, I don't even know Joey and you're bringing this shit up? Just buy the Volkswagen or don't buy the Volkswagen. But Joey convinces her like, hey, let's go to the school. You'll want to buy this V-dub. So we cut back to the school. Emma, Manny, and JT run into Snake, which, do they ever explain that name? It's a weird name for a teacher to have. I feel like that's a weird nickname for a teacher. And what's with this fedora? He comments on the fedora, he puts the fedora on, and if you watch the episode, the fedora bounced from person to person, but it's not like a storytelling device, it's not like a thematic device, it's just a prop that multiple characters wear. But from here we start to see Emma's abusive streak. She definitely has like some sort of like power complex, and she tries asserting her power over JT.
Ow! Shut up!
Oh, he can read into my soul.
Ow!
Rightfully so, because he is a beta after all. Maybe I'll start a counter. We're up to what, 2 now, 3? But this is where we meet my number 1 boy on Degrassi, Toby. Toby is a fucking god. It's the best character on Degrassi, hands down. Hopefully throughout this series, every month, I can make a case to why Toby slays. He's just like an all-around cool guy, best friend to JT, doing handshakes and shit. He's part of the group right off the bat. No questions asked. Toby fucking slays.
Is your friend always like that? Always. Really?
But goddamn, was 2001 the year of just oversized shirts? Did they just make clothes bigger, or did we not understand size charts? I don't know what happened. We wore big clothes, and then we wore small clothes, and now we're kind of in the middle. Guess things have a way of balancing out. Caitlin comes into the midst. I think they're trying to make Emma a proto Caitlin because she's into environmental stuff, and Caitlin has an environmental show. We don't really hear any specifics of the show. We don't see an example of the show. We just hear characters say,
Caitlin, I watch your show every week. The situations you get yourself into, you're amazingly brave.
No, just boring Emma with tales of my environmental crusades.
What you said? Wow.
But I see you every week on that show. What's it called? Oh, and your commercial.
that's you, Caitlin. I always knew you were gonna do stuff. Joey shows up at the school. Problem, Caitlin's engaged to a director, so you know he's gonna be a cool guy. He doesn't want to go to his reunion because it's a sad time. Anyway, Caitlin goes back to Spike's house where they go on Emma's computer. Why is the computer in Emma's room? Emma gets defensive, and then we get a little weirdness.
Caitlin Ryan's planet, birth date, March 2nd, 1972. You're a Pisces, right?
And you're a stalker.
Isn't she a family friend? Hasn't she met Caitlin before? I guess not. This is the first time they're meeting. But the amount of passion she has over this woman that's in her room is weird, and it's like brushed off and we just move on. The pacing is brisk. Just brrr. We get Toby just being a fucking hero. This is why I love Toby. He's the voice of reason. He's the core of the show.
Okay, if you're meeting a stranger you met off the net, that could be really dangerous.
You met a guy online? Well, that's kind of weird. Like, things could go wrong. Emma kind of brushes it off because she's caught up in it. Like, you wouldn't lie. He sent me pictures. But Manny, this is the only time that she's shown to be virtuous and kind of smart.
What Toby said about meeting strangers on the net being dangerous?
Manny, I can take care of myself. You don't need to worry so much. We'll meet somewhere public.
Maybe you should just talk to your mom. She's cool. She'd understand.
If we're on the woke meter, Degrassi gets a good point for bringing up levels of discussion and steps to see if this guy that you met on the internet, talk to your parents, tell people, let people know that you're contacting someone. We forget the internet in the early days was sort of like the milk carton of the 80s. In the 80s, you put missing children on milk cartons and it sent suburbia into a frenzy because we thought we were safe. But you're telling me that men can just snatch up children and drive away with them, never to be seen again? And now in the age of the internet, you're telling me that strangers can come onto the internet and lure my son or daughter out of the safety of their home and snatch them up, never to be seen again?
With forensic specialists, they're able to take that computer and they can, via the autocomplete feature, find out the username and password, find out who she's been chatting with. It all goes back to the IP address, the Internet Protocol call a dress.
I feel like every single TV show had to have the terrors of cyberspace. I feel like for the most part, this does a good job portraying it realistically. Emma's infatuation with him seems to be age accurate for her. There's fun to be get from like the email graphics and how the websites looks. It's also so far in the past that in my brain, like that's how websites looked back then. So I don't really know how cheesy it is, and it kind of works better with time. Then we go to a dinner drinking date between Snake, Caitlin, Joey, Keith, and Lucy. Oh, and Spike's there. Yes. Here we meet Keith, Caitlin's fiance, and guess what? He's an LA douchebag.
Just a second, I gotta take this. Yo, Frankie. Yeah. No, I'm in Toronto.
He's about showbiz, baby. This is where the portrayals of humanity become a lot more black and white. They really want you to hate this guy. He's wearing sunglasses inside. He's on his cell phone. He calls Joey unprofessional, like a hack car salesman, and Joey gets insecure.
Joey, next time, hire a real actor. You know, avoid this shifty used car salesman vibe. I mean, that's what I would do.
No, thank you.
Blink, motherfucker!
Great performance there. They casually throw out like shit from the past show that just go straight over my head. Something about a kid killing another kid, Lucy doing physical therapy.
It's not even awesome. It's just life. I survived the accident. I got off easy.
Sort of like Wheels. Kills a kid. 10 years later, scot-free.
Watching in retrospect, it does not fit in the context, and there's no like framing for it. It's just shit's just talked about, and you're just supposed to go like, okay, I guess that happened at some point. Joey gets insulted. He's just your humble Canadian car salesman. Keith, this LA douchebag coming into my fucking town and telling me that I need to hire an actor. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Joey, you're better than that. Get out of there. We do see another good practice. Joey mentions that he's waiting for his cab because they have been drinking.
I know, I'm just waiting for my cab.
You're showing good practices in a way that normalizes it. So it makes the viewer think like, okay, that's exactly what you should do if you're out drinking at a bar. Good job, Degrassi. But then Emma goes to Caitlin for some dating advice about meeting up with Jordan, and Caitlin pretty much tells her,
well, sometimes then you just have to take a chance. Go for it.
Take a chance. Go for it.
Computer people say you can expect abuse in the computer universe.
So this entices Emma to email Jordan and say, hey, hell yeah, I'll meet up with you. I'm going for it. That's where part one ends. Ooh, what a cliffhanger. It's not really a cliffhanger so much as a pause in the story, only to be continued. I did forget that every episode ends on a freeze frame. So that's kind of fun, seeing the point that they feel is a good, potent frame to stop the episode on. Episode 2 picks off exactly where that one left off. I just sort of want to take a moment to talk about the opening sequence. Things I forgot. That this is the opening sequence to the first episode, which is all about her sending emails to a cyber predator. So the email that she's sending in the title sequence feels representative of her emails to Jordan. The entire title sequence is literally being pushed forward by an email to a pedophile. I don't think that's how they intended it. Then it's even more questionable with the destination to that email is a phone on a close-up to a minor's buttocks. We just... I remember the logo showing up on Marco's back. I don't remember the logo over the butt. Hopefully they change the sequence soon. So it's time for the high school reunion, which starts during the day for some reason. Maybe it just doesn't get dark there. But we get another example of Keith being a perfect LA douchebag.
What? We have to take a tour. How about I get us some drinks?
Okay.
I love the representation of Americans. Good job. The new generation is giving tours to the past generation, and I think this is a clever little way to introduce a couple of the upperclassmen that we'll be seeing later on in the series, and it helps flesh out this world that really only has like 3 locations to it. Emma lies to Manny about staying home because Emma's gonna go meet Jordan. A problem Degrassi does have is the integration of the A story and the B story sometimes. The A story takes a very dramatic turn, while the B story stays light. They still continue to cut back and forth from one another, starts to not mesh as well. There's this weird scene where Caitlin comes up to Joey, they start talking and reminiscing, and of course Joey's sad because he's a sad piece of shit. Caitlin seems genuinely concerned about him, but then she gets jealous when this other, like, I'm guessing the preppy Paige type girl from their day, offers to get Joey a drink.
Oh, come on, for old time's sake.
I'll catch up to you later.
Bye.
So, you're in the market.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Caitlin, you're engaged, so as a viewer, I don't know how I should feel. Sure, Caitlin's engaged to a douchebag, but maybe they're cooler at home. No, he's a douchebag. Joey overhears Keith telling the preppy girl that offered to buy him a drink that she should hit him up if she's ever in town. He's having reservations about being with Caitlin. Uh-oh, trouble on the rocks. Turns out Keith is a douchebag through and through. Don't you cry no more, because Joey, he's the right man for Caitlin. Back to the A story. Manny's doing a little detective work. Manny has a lot of agency in this first episode, which is surprising because Manny doesn't do jack f***ing shit later in the series.
By Emma's. Not there. I tried to sell. Didn't pick up. So? So, she said she was staying home tonight to watch a show on Wildlife Refuge. It's not on. I checked.
All the parents are at the reunion. I guess every parent had kids at the exact same time. Toby is a computer genius. He knows how to fucking hack.
What's your mom's maiden name?
Nelson, same as Emma.
Okay, that's not it.
Oh, I need moisture in my throat. She's not really hacking. He's just trying to guess her questions. One of the question is, what's her mom's favorite rock band? They find a picture of her wearing a Pogue shirt. And to that I say,
Who are the Pogues?
nice job, Degrassi. The Pogues is a good pull. If you take nothing else away from this entire series, the Pogues is an excellent band. Akin to The Clash, I would say, but with like an Irish flair to it and a little more folksy. They hack into the computer and they find out that Emma has agreed to meet with Jordan. It says room like 114, or Toby reads the room.
Valley, room 1409.
Which is confusing because when we see Emma at the hotel, she's actually sitting in the lobby like she doesn't know where to go. And you could read that off as like she's hesitant, but it doesn't play off like that. Jordan has to physically get her and take her to the room. It's a weird disconnect of the writers trying to figure out like, oh, well, how would they know what room to go to? If they just go to the hotel, like how are they going to find him? So let's just give them the room. Well, we can't have Emma go straight to the room because it has to be creepier and there has to be this lead up to the room. And Emma, why aren't you asking questions?
Emma?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm Jordan's teacher. Don't tell him that I told you this, but he is so excited to meet you.
So am I.
Kids, ask questions. If a guy comes up to you with pizza, ask more questions. Emma, why are you going along with this? She is so smart, but she's naive. We go from this creep fest, baiting a child into his room where he has a video camera. If it's not clear already that this man is a monster, let's spell it the fuck out for you. We juxtapose this with Caitlin giving a fun little speech at her high school reunion. Hey guys, memories, what's up? And then Joey decides to confront Keith for some reason.
Hey, Allison. Are you planning to go to Los Angeles before or after he breaks up with Caitlin?
Oh, okay, your bipolar jealous thing has got a little out of hand.
Excuse me?
They're fucking punching each other in the face. I was on his side, but I don't think he handled it too well. No one looks good in this situation. It just turns into, is that true? You don't want to marry me? And keep going, Don't worry about that conflict because Toby and Manny and JT are here to save the day. They physically ran to the school. How far is the school from their house? The school doesn't have phones. They're not set up yet. It's the summer. School's not ready to take phone calls yet. They rush to the door. They get Spike and Snake. They tell them to come with. They call the cops, so I guess that's nice. We cut to the most just uncomfortableness past any reason. It's almost exploitative.
You smell so sweet.
I think there's a point where you can get the message across without making the viewer feel this uncomfortable. The Degrassi writers are kind of the prototypical 13 reasons why. We can go there, so we should. The more real it is, the more the audience will react to it. And if the audience is reacting to it, then our show's working and we're gonna be able to get the message across. Sometimes it has a counterintuitive effect. Degrassi does that a lot. It's unfortunate that the entire series starts out with the most uncomfortable sequences I've ever seen in a show. The only wide we get in this episode is through a camcorder. The show is actively making you feel like you are the pervert watching this happen. I didn't ask for it. I told her to fucking tell her mom. I told her to listen to Manny. I told her to stay the fuck away from this hotel, to ask questions, and even while you're there, don't go with a man who's holding a pizza. You march your ass up to that room and you go get Jordan. Spike and Snake arrive. They save the day. Snake fucking elbows the guy right in the throat. He's not that intimidating, but he's so tall that like his pure size makes him kind of a force. And then we got the good old police running down the hall to save the day. Close the episode out with Emma getting her PC taken away. You don't need the fucking tower. Even if you need like the hard data from it, you can just take out the hard drive. I don't understand why they're taking the entire tower as evidence. It was over email. You just need her email login.
And when this comes back, keep it downstairs.
Like he's talking straight to parents at home.
Hey parents, don't give your kids computers. They're gonna get kidnapped. Don't do it.
We end on I think a very potent conversation with her mom. She tries to act mature and tough, but you see these layers breaking down and the connection that they have.
You know you can talk to me about anything. No, I can't. You're my mom, don't you get it? You don't remember what it's like being 12. You don't remember anything.
Actually, I do.
That's probably the best moment of this first episode. And then we get a beautiful ending frame on them embracing, Emma's face just teary-eyed. Will this impact the show to come and ripple out into the season? Guess we'll have to see next month when I cover episodes 2 and 3. This episode's rough. On a technical level, it's rough. On a story level, I think the villains were painted a little too broadly, but I like the advice that Manny gives, and I like how the lessons are woven in. But hey, this is a soapy children's show. I can't really complain that much. It's a good passing of the torch, if not a little muddied with the references to the earlier property. How should I rate these? On a woke meter, Degrassi, Next Generation, Mother and Daughter Reunion, two-parter. What are they? They're the fucking Cougars. I give them 6 Cougars out of 10. Please click on my channel to see videos on all things, and remember to subscribe so you can see these videos when they hit 2 episodes a month. Degrassi, what a start to a beautiful journey. Until next time, stay posy, everybody. Be safe on the internet. That's why I show my face, so you see who's talking to you. Toodles, everybody.